Привет всем, с вами я, Janie, и это How Janie Learned Russian. We are on day 8 of our semester-long course that goes over the 6 Russian cases. We are currently working on nominative case, and you may think nominative case is pretty straightforward, but there's some tricky things here and there. So yesterday we talked about having, and today we're going to talk about liking in Russian, which surprisingly part of the phrase of the thing that you like is going to get nominative case. So are going to be learning about that today, as well as talking about this magical all-purpose word tak and takoy, which you're going to hear all the time in Russian. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay, real quick, as promised, we always do a recap of the previous day's lesson just to help you retain everything that you're learning, because I know you're busy and your brain has a lot of things stuffed in there, and Russian grammar is not always your first priority. So don't you worry, I will loop back around and help you keep all of that fresh in your mind. So we are working in our textbook today. We'll be on page 17 and then doing some various oral drills and exercises and listening comprehension in today's lesson as well. So our thing that we're going to review today is having. Remember, when you have something in Russian, you're not actually doing anything to it. And that's going to be important when we get to accusative case. And accusative case is with a direct object. Well, in Russian, when you have something, it's merely in your vicinity. It's by you, okay? So yesterday we learned about pronouns, and the pronouns are especially important when talking about having in Russian. So let's just do a quick review of all the different havings. I have, у меня. You have, informal, у тебя. He has, у него. She has, у нее. We have, у нас. Y'all have, or formal, у вас. And then they have, у них. Okay? So let's practice translating some of these sentences. So I'll pause after I say it in English, and I want you to talk out loud, because really, how many opportunities are you getting to speak Russian out loud? This is your chance. Talk to yourself. You're your best friend. You're your number one fan. Talk, okay? So, по-английски, we have the Mississippi River. We are Americans. Our country is big, okay? So, this is going to force you to use 3 different words from yesterday's lesson. 2 of them are pronouns. 1 of them is a possessive adjective. Okay, so we have the Mississippi River. У нас есть is optional, река Mississippi. We are Americans. Мы американцы. Our country is big. This is a possessive adjective. Наша страна большая. Наша страна большая. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the Russians. They have the Volga River. They are Russians. Their country is big. Okay, so let's practice that. У них есть река Волга. Они русские. Их страна большая. Их страна большая. Remember, those third-person possessive adjectives don't ever change, okay? Third-person possessive adjectives don't change. Хорошо. Следующее. My name is Janie. These are my kids. They love me, and I love them. Okay, let's use correct pronouns here. Let's make sure we're getting they love me correctly, and let's do I love them correctly, okay? Here we go. Меня зовут Janie. So by the way, you've been saying pronouns since day 1 of learning Russian when you learned how to say your name, because in Russian you're literally saying they call me. How do they call you? Меня зовут Janie. Это мои дети. I possess them. I gave birth to them. They are mine. So это мои дети. Okay, they love me. Они любят меня. And then I love them. Я люблю их. Я их люблю. Okay? So они любят меня, я люблю их. Okay? Next one. I know you. You are my friend. Where is your house? Let's do informal on this. So, я знаю тебя. Я знаю тебя. You are my friend. Ты мой друг. Where is you possess it. It is yours. Where is your house? Где твой дом? Вот так. Okay? So this concept is so important to keep straight in Russian. I can't emphasize it enough because we're going to start putting all of those different words into cases. And so him is going to get 6 form, or I guess there's technically only 4 forms. All of those words are going to get a whole bunch of different forms. So this is really important to separate out in your head possessive adjectives from pronouns. Okay, хорошо. Следующее. So, интересный кусочек информации сегодня это вот эта фраза. Вот такие пироги. Или вот такие пирожки. Можно так. Пирожки is like the cute diminutive version of пироги. So, вот такие пироги is... So, I mean, my Russian friend used to translate it as, that's the way the cookie crumbles, but like, we don't really say that anymore. So I'd say nowadays, you'd probably say, вот такие пироги would be like, so, and there you have it. And that's just how it is, kind of thing. So it's you'll often hear it at the end of conversations or like in a lull in conversations where you're like, all right, so anyway, kind of thing. It's really hard to translate, but as you can see, it's like a very set phrase. It literally means, well, it's those kinds of little pies, right? So pirashki, if you've ever had those, they're fabulous. They're these little like baked or fried goods with some sort of stuffing in them. So you're literally saying like, well, there are those pies. So it's just a way of saying, like, I don't know how to, but it's just it's like a filler phrase. So, well, I guess that. So that's life, or there you go. That's just how it is. And so вот такие пироги. Ну вот такие пирожки. Вот это все, что происходит у меня в жизни. Вот такие пироги. Все. Da. So again, it's just a fun little phrase. And now, so today we're talking about this magical word takoy, tak. And I remember noticing it. I never found it in a textbook, but I was just hearing people say it all the time. And so I'm always kind of baffled. Why is this never covered? We cover kakoy, but you actually don't hear, like, takoy is so common. You use it in so many ways. And you also use it in front of verbs. You use it in front of adverbs. And so today we're going to kind of make the distinction between takoy and tak. Okay? So let's look at some of these memes. Or songs, I guess some of them are. Ты такая красивая. So we would translate this as so. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Okay, let's look at another song. Я так люблю тебя. Okay, so this one, in order to not sound old-fashioned, we'd have to say, I love you so much. I freaking, I love you so much. Okay, so as you can see, takoy and tak is very often translating as so. But it's also going to translate in a different way here in just a second. So, почему ты так медленно работаешь? Why do you work so slow? So there's another so. Now, but let's look at this one. Вот ты, да ты. Вот ты, да ты. Почему ты такой дебил? Okay. So такой дебил, and in fact, we're going to have a fun exercise at the end of the lesson today, and we're going to shout out compliments or insults to people, and this word takoy is going to come in very handy. So he's like, why are you such a loser, or I don't even know how to translate debil, like I don't know, yeah, loser, freak, like yeah, anyway, so essentially it's an insult. And so takoy, takaya, those come in very handy in insults and exclamations. Also, tak is a great way to emphasize or to strengthen any verb or adverb as well. Он так медленно говорит. Ну, блин, это так скучно. Почему он так медленно говорит? Он все делает очень медленно, так медленно. Вот. Окей, хорошо. So, переключимся сейчас в учебник. Вот так, и вот так, и вот так, и вот так. Хорошо. Вот. So we are now to nominative case. We're still in nominative case. So far we've learned certain phrases. So nominative case is just the default, right? This is blah, okay? Nothing is being done to it, etc. And then we have certain constructs such as having that are going to need nominative case. And then another one is liking. What's interesting is the thing that you like in Russian is nominative case. And the reason for this is that it is pleasing to you. I believe Spanish does the same thing. The thing is the subject of the sentence. So what you're literally saying when you're saying these liking sentences is, to me, Russian music is pleasing. So this is missing. You're going to put in, so part of your work here is you're going to put in the word нравится. Русская музыка мне нравится. Мне нравится русская музыка. Later on, when we get to dative case, you'll learn about what's happening with this мне, and you'll learn how to put all of the pronouns into dative case. For right now, we're just going to focus on мне, вам, and тебе. Those are the only three. So мне, I like, вам нравится, you formal like, and then тебе informal like. And that's going to be all you need to participate in the exercises today. So what's happening here is Russian music is the subject of the sentence. That's hard for our English brain because it's at the end of the sentence, but it is in fact the thing. It is the subject. It is the thing doing the pleasing. Вам нравится Москва? Вам нравится Москва? Is Moscow pleasing to you? Is Moscow pleasing to you? Какие фильмы тебе нравятся? Now here I laid out a different version of нравится for you because you cannot hear it in spoken speech, but this is getting a яца because it's plural things. And again, it doesn't really matter in spoken speech. You can't hear the difference between it. So, какие фильмы тебе нравятся? Какие фильмы тебе нравятся? So this is getting nominative case because it is pleasing to you. The films are pleasing to you. And then later on, when we get to dative case, you won't be so scared because you'll be like, oh, I already got introduced to dative case back when we were talking about liking. So dative case, I understand that concept. Hooray. Okay, so now you're going to answer these questions about yourself. So, например, какая музыка вам нравится? Okay, so I'm going to just verbally say this, and then I'll write it out. Ну, смотрите, я очень странный человек. Многие жанры музыки мне нравятся, да? Например, мне очень нравится музыкальный театр, да, Бродвей, и вы уже знаете. Мой самый любимый музыкант, он очень сильно мне нравится, он так мне нравится, это Стиви Вандер. Потом мне очень нравится музыка хард-рок. Хард-рок. Это вообще мне очень нравится. Такие группы, не death metal или black metal по-русски говорят, а хард-рок. Например, Deftones, Tool, Nine Inch Nails. Вот, такие группы мне очень нравятся. И также мне нравится жанр хип-хоп, потому что я люблю танцевать. Вот. Окей, то есть so I'm going to say all music is нравится to me. Мне нравится, look what this word all is going to do. Вся музыка. And so did you know the word all, все, gets genders as well? And don't you worry, in my textbook, I have it laid out in the chart for you. So you can do that construct as well. Номер два. Вам нравятся кошки или собаки больше? Больше, more. Вам нравятся кошки или собаки больше? Okay, so you're answering these questions out loud. Мне нравятся кошки больше. Да, потому что легко, да, легко ухаживать за них. То есть они более легкие, чем собаки. Хотя мне очень нравятся большие умные собаки. Например, как называется? Овчак, по-моему, по-русски овчак. German Shepherds, вот такие умные собаки мне очень нравятся. То есть я скажу вот так. Кошки мне. And by the way, you can say нравится мне, you can say мне нравится. Мне нравится is usually the more common word order. Мне, and not, watch what I'm going to do with нравятся. Кошки мне нравятся больше. Да? Окей. Номер три. Какие американские города вам нравятся? Какие? Не какой. да? Какие? Наверное, есть несколько городов. То есть какие американские города вам нравятся? О, ну это немножко трудный вопрос. Скажем так. Новый Орлеан мне очень нравится. Мне очень нравится Чарльстон в Южной Каролине, Филадельфия, Питтсбург мне очень нравится. Ам, да, то есть мне нравятся историчные города, да, где есть интересная история и где есть вкусная еда. Вот, вот такие города мне нравятся. Окей, какой фильм вам не нравится и почему? Ой, к сожалению, я очень редко смотрю фильмы, но какой фильм? О, вы знаете, я не очень люблю... This is a whole thing. Everybody's going to be like, you don't like Pixar movies? Are you dead inside? But it's because I have like sensory overload issues. And so некоторые особенно громкие мультики мне не нравятся. So, некоторые громкие мультики мне не нравятся. Мне не нравятся такие фильмы. Это уже слишком громко, слишком много визуального, вы знаете, это чересчур. Вот. Окей, следующий. Такой? Какой такой? And of course, the word такой gets gender, of course, as well. Какая машина у тебя есть? Okay, so really great way to say like that kind, that one. You know, that's a great way to say it. So какая машина у тебя есть? Вот такая. Like that kind of car, like that one, like that, like an SUV or something. So такой is just like this really great all-purpose word. Тебе нравятся такие девушки? Тебе нравятся такие девушки, которые все время, они делают вот филлер вот здесь, и они делают вот губы, как сказать, уток, да, губы такие вот, они все время вот так. А вам нравятся такие девушки? Да, может быть, если это вам нравится, я ничего не скажу. Но вам нравятся такие девушки? Вам нравятся такие машины? Do you like those kinds of cars? Do you like that kind of something? And we're going to do an oral exercise here later where I kind of help you come up with questions that you could use a follow-up question using the word takoy. It's so useful. Это такое полезное слово, люди. Это так полезно, такое полезное слово. Она такая красивая. So now, same thing with какой, where it can also be an exclamation. Она такая красивая. She is so beautiful. And then how would we say, you have such a big house. У тебя такой большой дом. Okay, and then the other way you could say that is какой большой дом, right? So you could either say какой большой, or you could say у тебя такой большой дом. Это такой большой дом. It's such a big house. Okay, so let's go back to our exercise here, and we are going to practice some compliments and insults. This is going to be fun. And Russians don't hold back, by the way. So you better learn how to like dish it out in Russian. So, okay, so how would you say you are so beautiful? This was one of the Igor Creed songs we saw. Ты такая красивая. I guess if you're talking to a man, ты такой красивый. And by the way, you don't have a handsome and a beautiful in Russian. Everything's красивый. Ты такой красивый. You speak English so well. Okay, so in this one, it's going to be modifying an adverb because we're not going to say хороший, we're going to say хорошо. So if it has an o on the end, the word we need in front is так. Okay, so вы говорите по-английски так хорошо, молодец. Вы говорите так хорошо по-английски, молодец. Okay, this one's important in Russian because you might get called this. Okay, so you're such an idiot. And I'm assuming we're speaking informally here because you don't talk like that to somebody formally. Okay, so let's try it. So you can either use the word дурак or idiot. Okay, I'm going to do дурак because that's a great word. So, ты такой дурак. Ну что ж, ты такой дурак, блин. Да, okay? You're so strong. You're squeezing a guy's muscle. And how would you say that in Russian? О, ты такой сильненький. Ты такой сильный. Ой, какой ты сильный. Ты такой сильный. Yeah, good. Okay. This is a great one. Talking to have you ever seen, like, I swear Russian babies are the cutest and they have these like big squishy cheeks. So how would you look at a little Russian kid and say, oh, you're such a cutie patootie. Oh, so you can use this word Russian, pupsik. Pupsik. Okay. So how would you say, oh, you're such a pupsik. Oh, you're such a cutie patootie. О, ты такой пупсик. Ты такой пупсик. Okay? How about this one? What a strange question. Okay, so this would take us, I don't see any such a or so. So this might take us back to takoy. Okay? But you could get the exact same meaning across by using takoy. Let's try it. So let's use takoy first. Какой странный вопрос. And we got to use that intonation. Какой странный вопрос. Now, how would you say that is such a strange question? Это такой странный вопрос. Это такой странный вопрос. Okay, how would you tell a Russian that your language is so confusing or not understandable? Да? Ну, извините, но ваш язык такой непонятный. Ваш язык такой непонятный язык. Вот. Okay. Next, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you some basic information about something. And then I want you to come up with a follow-up question that is asking, so the conversation's already going on about something, and then you want to include your Russian friend and you can kind of be like, oh, do you like that kind of food? Oh, do you like that kind of music? Oh, how about you? Do you like those kinds of places? Okay, so let me show you how that might sound. So you might say something like, в Таиланде еда очень острая. And now you want to ask them, are you okay with that? You like that kind of food? So острая значит, да, да, пить хочется, да. В Таиланде еда очень острая. Тебе нравится такая еда? Вот. You see how it's really useful for like not having to repeat yourself. А тебе нравится? Rather than saying острая еда. Right? We can just say, тебе нравится такая еда? Вот. Следующее. В Бразилии люди очень приветливые. Они все время говорят «Привет!», улыбаются, они целуют тебя, они обнимаются все время, они такие приветливые. А тебе нравятся такие люди? Right? So that would be your follow-up question. Like, do you like those kinds of people? Some people feel a little bit overwhelmed by that. So, может быть, тебе не нравятся такие люди, да? Такие люди тебе не нравятся. Вот. Хорошо. Окей? Популярный стиль гранж. Да, сейчас мои дети очень любят гранж. So now I want to follow up and be like, and how about y'all? What do y'all think about that style? So стиль, as you can see from the word популярный, is a masculine. So you're going to need to say, а вам? Вам нравится такой стиль? Вот. Вам нравится такой стиль? Такой, because стиль is masculine. Хорошо. Русское блюдо. Холодец. If you guys haven't tried it, consider yourself lucky. But maybe there are some Westerners that are totally fine with beef jello. I personally am not, right? So, русское блюдо. А вам нравится такое блюдо? Мне точно не нравится такое блюдо. Это очень странная консистенция. Это вообще не мое. Нет. Мне не нравится такое блюдо. Хорошо. Следующее. Музыка металл. Я уже говорила, что мне нравится хард-рок, но мне не нравится такая музыка. Мне не нравится такая музыка. Вот. So, see how I'm using it as like, it's very much a follow-up, right? What we're talking about is already kind of established. Вот. So, okay, how about this one? Большие людные места. Большие людные места. So, людным значит много-много людей. да? Например, Таймс-сквер, Новый год. Это людное место. Ой, я бы сошла с ума. Нет. Uh, so how would you ask somebody, do you like those kinds of places? Like big crowded places? Let's follow it up. So the conversation's already going about big crowded places, and then you turn to your Russian friend and you say, а тебе нравятся такие места? Тебе нравятся такие места? Hear the intonation. А тебе нравятся такие места? А тебе нравится Таймс-сквер? Такой бардак. Окей? Тебе нравятся такие места? Нет, мне точно не нравятся такие места. Вот. I always joke that I'm going to miss the second coming of Jesus Christ, because it will probably be crowded and the parking's going to be a nightmare, and so I'm just going to stay home. So, yeah, that's how much I hate crowded places. Вот, хорошо. Это все на сегодня. Увидимся на следующем уроке. We're getting close to the end of the chapter, so we're going to start some of the final review activities. We're going to get ready for our speaking exam, which is what you will be doing. And if you are in any of my classes, we'll be doing those exams in our classes. Everybody will have their opportunity to answer some of those questions and practice going back and forth with me. So, by the way, I didn't plug my textbook today, but as you know, it's available over on Patreon. Information about the group classes is also available over on Patreon. Хорошо, это все на сегодня. Пока-пока.